There are some people you might try to avoid because of their toxic behavior, and the same goes for celebrities in the world of Hollywood. Maybe we feel like our celebrity crush can't do wrong, but believe it or not, there are a lot of toxic celebrities out there, and I've got a list of 10 of them. Thanks for coming back to Top 10 Beyond the Screen. I'm Joss Bedard. Subscribe and come say hi to us on social media. You can find all of our links down below. But for now, let's get into our list of toxic celebrities. Starting us off, the number 10 spot is Jeffree Star. If you follow the YouTube community, then you know about the beauty guru even if you aren't interested in makeup. Even if you are a fan of him, he's always in the middle of every scandal, and recently he's been putting out fires everywhere in his career for a lot of harsh claims. He's being called a racist for past comments he's made. He was accused of knowing about the Davy Vanity sexual assault cases, and most recently accused of bullying James Charles and setting up that huge 2019 scandal to a point where James had suicidal thoughts. There is a lot to the drama because he's been a huge influencer on YouTube for years, but he's always the front man in every scandal, so we all can agree that that is a toxic place to be. Up next, number 9 is Perez Hilton. With his job, it's kind of impossible to not come off as a toxic person in Hollywood. He's a famous media personality who got known off his celebrity blogging pieces. His website covers all the latest drama and gossip about celebrities, and because he's the one dishing out the information, he often takes a lot of heat for it. I mean, we kind of do the same thing on our channels. Like, we cover the latest celebrity news, stories, and updates, and sometimes people come at us as if we're making up the gossip, but really we're the ones just delivering the news, like it's our job. But Perez kind of inserts himself in situations, like he tweets at celebrities causing these feuds, and he often just shares his opinion even when he's not asked to. So for more reasons than one, he could be viewed as very toxic. Cruising into number 8 is Kim Kardashian. Some people would argue that the whole Kardashian family, like in general, should be on this list, but Kim takes a lot of heat, especially being married to Kanye West, because we all know Kanye West and his erratic behavior. She recently received a ton of backlash after posting a video of her wearing a corset from her Met Gala outfit. In the video, her waist looks incredibly small, and people immediately started accusing her for setting dangerous body standards that could be dangerous to women and young girls that follow her. Even actress Jameela Jamil called her out publicly and accused her of being obsessed with her body shape and overall image. Maybe Kim doesn't realize how those types of posts could affect people, but it could be very toxic, especially for young girls who are influenced more by the media. In our number 7 spot is Chris Brown. He let the world know he was in a toxic relationship in 2009 when he faced assault charges from his girlfriend at the time, Rihanna. He pleaded guilty to the charges and openly admitted that they were both physical with each other, and said that he punched her in the face and busted her lip. Since then, he's always had an angry reputation, like getting kicked out of clubs, having feuds with other celebrities, and smashing windows in the back of a studio after walking off set because he didn't like the interviewer's question. Other celebrities have come forward saying that they just try to avoid him, probably for the best. Moving on to number 6, we have Lindsay Lohan. She was once one of the biggest celebrities in Hollywood, but struggled with an addiction that led to her arrest. She eventually got sober and moved to Dubai because she wanted to avoid paparazzi, and it is illegal over there. Fun fact. I don't think people had an issue with her addiction because we understand that some people struggle with it. It was her aggressive and erratic behavior that people just don't want to be involved with. She doesn't have a very good track record with other celebrities in more recent times, and because of her charges and reputation, a relationship with her could be toxic to their reputation. It looks like she is trying to make a comeback right now though, guys, so let's cross our fingers and send positive vibes her way, because I loved her and I would just, I would love a turnaround. I really would. Miss her and Amanda Bynes. I miss both of them very much. Halfway through at number 5 is Charlie Sheen. If you followed any of his behavior in recent years, then you would already understand why he's on our list. At one point in time, he was the highest paid TV actor in Hollywood, earning $1.8 million an episode, crazy, for his role on 2.5 Men. But then in 2018, he was admitting to Vanity Fair that he had been blacklisted. He said, "I've been unable to find steady work and have been blacklisted from many aspects of the entertainment industry. It was his addiction to to drugs and alcohol that led him there after he had multiple trips to rehab, domestic violence charges against him by multiple women, lashing out at producers, and demanding a 50% raise on top of his $1.8 million an episode. Directors have said he is too much of a liability because his past behavior was so impulsive, but he has sobered up and there is a chance that he could turn his reputation around. Rolling into the number 4 spot is Azealia Banks. She's got a reputation for being a feisty little firecracker, and her temper has landed her in some trouble on more than one occasion. She has started storms on Twitter with her abrasive and offensive tweets, and she has been both physically and verbally aggressive in public. Allegedly, she's known as the party plague because she has been kicked out of numerous bars, parties, and even airplanes. She was investigated after she punched a security guard who was trying to remove her from a Los Angeles bar one time. Video footage of the incident led the LAPD to open a case against her. I mean, we all have that one drunk, aggressive friend at the bar, and like once they just start going off and getting aggressive, like we just pretend we don't know them. You know what I mean? I do that. I have friends, they just try to look for fights and stuff, and I'm just like, you're on your own, I ain't trying to get involved in that. And I just pretend I don't know them. In the 3rd spot is Justin Bieber. The singer has done some damage to his reputation over the years, but at one point in time he had a clean record. Part of his career seemed to get out of control and he was facing drunken misdemeanors like peeing in a public restaurant, skipping out on tabs, being removed from Coachella by a chokehold, and caught drinking underage. Fans also started to turn against him because they didn't like his attitude or behavior. He no longer took photo with fans. In fact, he actually yelled at fans who would try to take a picture or a video of him, and in one incident he allegedly spit on his fans. In more recent times though, after marrying Hailey Baldwin and moving to Canada, he seems to be under the radar and is kind of staying out of news headlines like as best as he can, unless they're good ones of course. Taking over number 2 is Farrah Abraham. She became famous from MTV's hit series Teen Mom, but as her career took off, fans started to question her parenting and didn't really agree with her behavior or choices. At one point in her career, she decided to star on Teen Mom and become an adult film star and entertainer. So of course, MTV could not allow her to stay on the show Teen Mom with children. So she ended up starting her own line of sex toys after that and underwent a ton of plastic surgery. The only press she gets these days is bad press because of her social media live streams. She gets butt injections literally on her live stream, you know, like for promotion, shows her butt and everything, and her 11-year-old daughter Sophia is in the room with her, like talking about the butt injections. Her parenting choices are hers to make, obviously, but you can understand why people would see this as toxic. Earning the number 1 place is Shane Dawson. He first joined YouTube back in 2008 with a channel called Shane Dawson TV. His personality and funny skits at the time won people over and he skyrocketed into fame, which led him to creating his own series called Conspiracy Theories with Shane Dawson. However, in this past year or so, he has been facing a harsh reality after people revealed old footage of him doing blackface, making racist comments, saying inappropriate comments about minors, and saying he sexually assaulted his cat. Now honestly, these are just a few of the controversies he is facing right now. What pushed everyone over the edge though was a recent video where he was performing inappropriate gestures towards a poster of Willow Smith when she was underage. Things are so bad for him right now that YouTube just canceled all ads across all 3 of his channels, which means that he is making $0 on any of his videos. Alright guys, that was our list for today. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments, leave a like, do your thing, but for now I'm gonna check out some other comments from some of my other videos. Andreas Ballesteros says, I bet my dog I won't be noticed. Well, you owe me your dog. Ricky Luna says, is this part of Amazing Top 10? Yes, this is a sister channel to Most Amazing Top 10. We are all one big company. Kira Lux says, top 10 worst method actors, let's do it. Let's do it is right. I actually love that idea. It is noted. Kira Smith says, girl, you gotta remember that SPF. Okay, guys, everyone was ripping on me for that sunburn. I got a really bad one again, that's why I'm hiding it. But I do wear SPF. I had SPF 30 on that day and I still got burned. Clearly I need like SPF 60, but it turns into a nice tan, so it's all good. That was my tanning post. Alright guys, that's all I got. I've been your host Joss, I will see you next time. I think everyone would have their own list of who they think the most toxic celebrities in Hollywood are. So we can only go with what the internet says based on the celebrities who end up in the most scandals. With social media being such a big part of people's lives, it becomes more obvious which people are toxic. So today on Beyond the Screen, we are checking out the top 10 most toxic celebrities. Let me know in the comments first and foremost who would be on your toxic list. I want to know. But for now, let's get to the toxic list. In spot number 10 is Kris Jenner. Your opinion on this is gonna depend on whose side of the story you believe. The mom, who also acts as the manager to the Kardashian sisters, usually stays out of Hollywood drama, or so we thought. But maybe we were blindsided and she's more toxic than we actually think. Last week, Kris was hit with a sexual assault lawsuit from her former bodyguard, who alleged that he had been forced to deal with unwanted sexual advances. Her one daughter, Courtney Kardashian, was also named in the lawsuit, but the allegations were mainly geared towards Kris. She released a statement through her lawyer and said, "The security company stopped assigning McWilliams to work there after the guard was repeatedly caught sleeping in his car on the job. Significantly, McWilliams never made any complaints to his employer about Kris until contriving this ludicrous claim a year later." Reports say Kris is denying all these claims, so people's opinions of her will only change if they believe the bodyguard side of the story. Coming in next, number 9, we have Perez Hilton. If you are not familiar with Perez, he is the biggest celebrity blogger in the world, which has caused him a lot of high-profile feuds since he is always reporting celebrity news. A lot of celebrities have come forward and accused him of being a cyberbully because he will act like their friend in person, but then write up a nasty blog about them without getting all the details first. Misha Barton actually confronted him on The Hills reboot series after explaining that what he does for a living can be very damaging. She said that when she was growing up in the spotlight, he would often write news stories about her weight changing and said it did a lot of damage to her mental health. During one of the episodes, she actually confronts him about it and calls him a bully. He did apologize to her for some of the things he did in the past, but it has not changed his career choice or how he chooses to express himself in these blogs. Sliding into spot number 8 is Sean Penn. People have dubbed him as the king of overreacting, probably because he attacked an extra on set one time and faced assault charges for it. He was sentenced to 60 days in jail for it and served 33 of them. He has been accused for aggressive behavior on a variety of occasions, with people claiming that he has actually hit some of the women in his life. Lee Daniels did an interview where he spoke about Sean Penn and said that he has admitted to hitting women and that he has toxic masculinity. His comments led to Sean suing him in a $10 million defamation lawsuit, but his ex-wife Madonna came forward to try and clear the air. Madonna denied that she was ever hit by Sean during their relationship. She named the allegations specifically and denied all of them, calling the accusations malicious and false. But regardless of the allegations, his aggressive behavior has always been shown on numerous occasions through racist remarks and threats towards other people. He just seems very angry all the time. Moving on to number 7, we have Azealia Banks. The rapper is known for starting fires on the internet with her abrasive and offensive tweets. And even though it's landed her in the middle of controversy many times, it was still never enough to make her stop. People have said that she doesn't just talk the talk though, and that she's also very abrasive in public as well, not just behind screen. News reports have shared stories of her being kicked out of parties, bars, and airplanes for getting very aggressive. In 2015, she became the target of a criminal investigation after accusations came forward saying that she beat up a security guard who was kicking her out of a club. Apparently, she tried pulling the fire alarm, so they tried to kick her out, and then she and her friends began to jump the security guard. Video footage surfaced which showed her pounding her fists on him, like legit. The video also showed her tampering with the fire alarm, so she was caught red-handed in the whole thing. Definitely not the type of behavior that anyone in Hollywood would want to be around. Well, anyone that isn't toxic. Cruising into spot number 6 is Mel Gibson. He was once one of the biggest actors in Hollywood, but then over the last couple decades, he managed to ruin his career and reputations with a number of different scandals. Now, he has been able to hang on to his career despite all of this, but his reputation is one that people just don't really want to be involved with anymore. His hiatus happened after being arrested in 2006 during an aggressive rant which was actually leaked online. Then, in 2010, more tapes leaked which showed him yelling racist remarks and derogatory terms at his then girlfriend and mother to one of his children. She later alleged that he was physically and mentally abusive. But even the years between and after these scandals, he was often in trouble for saying homophobic comments as well. Some people have not been so forgiving towards him. One Twitter user recently wrote, "Mel Gibson is an anti-Semitic lowlife who doesn't ever deserve to hold another job in Hollywood." But somehow he still has held on to a career. He recently appeared in a Lionsgate movie, and Warner Brothers confirmed that he is still attached to their project Wild Bunch. Halfway through the list, at number 5 is Kanye West. It is a difficult thing to admit right now because reports say he is suffering from mental illness, which might explain a lot of his recent behavior. I can imagine it would be difficult to be affiliated with him right now with all his erratic Twitter rants. Recently, he broke his confidential contract and released images of his entire music contract, which he signed and vowed to keep confidential. He also released Forbes' phone number through a screenshot and told his millions of viewers to text him, which would steer many celebrities away from him, or wanting to be even friends with him. But some of his rants have gotten more personal, and he even openly attacked his wife Kim Kardashian and her family, calling them all white supremacists. Through a series of tweets, he accused her of being unfaithful, said he would keep his kids away from Kris Jenner, which is their grandmother, and even made some negative comments about Kim's parenting. All of the headlines he is making right now are very negative and toxic, but we are hoping that things can change, that he can get the help that he needs, if that is the problem. Taking over the number 4 spot is Charlie Sheen. Though reports have recently said he's doing a lot better, there were times when his career came crashing down and he lost everything. He struggled with an alcohol and drug addiction for years, and his angry behavior had him fired from his TV show 2.5 Men. The producers fired him for what they called his dangerously self-destructive conduct. At the time, he was the highest paid actor on US television, and the show was the most popular comedy on CBS, so it was a massive loss for him. Charlie's personal life also suffered because of his addiction and his behavior. His ex-wife Denise Richards recently spoke about it and said that their relationship was very toxic. She was married to him from 2002 to 2006 and said, "When I got pregnant with Lola, things started to change rapidly. It was a very dark time, very toxic, and I filed for divorce when I was 6 months pregnant with her." The good news is they have been able to become more civil recently, just for the parenting sake, but Charlie has not been able to patch things up with the rest of Hollywood yet. Taking over our 3rd spot is Jeffree Star. People are quick to point their fingers at him whenever it comes to any kind of drama because for some reason he is always involved in some way or another. No matter what the drama involves, all the headlines include his name. Most times it's all word of mouth and it's he said, she said, but he's been in the middle of some pretty serious scandals. He was being called racist after some of his old posts resurfaced. He's been called a bully for starting rumors about James Charles that almost ended his career. And he has been accused of knowing about serious allegations and not doing anything about it. His most recent scandal came after he accused his boyfriend of robbing him, and then his boyfriend turned around and started claiming serious things against Jeffree, like saying he had HIV and did not tell anyone that he was hooking up with. It's almost impossible to sum everything up, but there is always chaos going on in the world of Jeffree Star. I can't confirm what is true or what's not, but everyone else is very quick to put the blame on him. Taking over the number 2 spot is Amber Heard. Need I say more? I feel like she's just on every one of these lists because when I don't put her on the list, you guys yell at me in the comments saying that she deserves to be on it. So once again, Amber Heard is on our list. I don't think there's anything more toxic than the $100 million lawsuit she is in with her ex-husband Johnny Depp, which is filled with many disturbing accusations. So disturbing that one of them even claimed Amber went on their bed and left it as some kind of weird prank or joke. It would take me an entire video to go over all the allegations in this lawsuit, but Amber is coming in hot with her lawyers. After some evidence came out which proved she was making up the stories about Johnny abusing her, the internet turned against her and started slamming her online. She is now claiming that Johnny and his team have hired bot accounts online to make her look bad and ruin her reputation. So she is now suing him on top of their $50 million lawsuit. Now, we can't truly say who is telling the truth in all of these situations, but her behavior throughout the lawsuit has been toxic to say the least. Winning our #1 spot is Donald Trump. Taking politics and votes completely out of this situation, his behavior on Twitter is still enough to be considered toxic. Twitter can be a very toxic place for any celebrity because their words have such an impact, so just imagine being the president of the United States and tweeting out things daily. Things that a huge percent of the world does not agree with, or things that a huge percent of the world does agree with, and then that causes a storm online with all of those who don't. Many non-Trump supporters have said that his behavior is what they find to be most toxic. How he carries himself, his attitude, things he says during debates, things that he tweets out. But of course, some people don't find his behavior toxic at all. I think social media, honestly, in general, when it comes to politics, is just toxic. Like, everything about it is very toxic. Because everyone has different opinions and feelings, so of course it's gonna become toxic real quick. Alright guys, that's all I have. Make sure you leave me your thoughts and feelings in the comments. You might get a shout out in my next video, but for now, I'm gonna respond to some comments from people you won't believe became celebrities. And Cynthia says, I'm still shocked that the Kardashians are famous. I'm not. Honestly, I think they've been famous pretty much my entire life, so I'm very used to it by now. Beezer says, being a celebrity seems like too much work. I'd rather just be me. I love that, and true. I don't think we realize how much goes into being a celebrity. It does seem like a lot of work. Dawn Sherritt says, Here Comes Honey Boo Boo wasn't called Swamp Mama in the UK. So fun fact, I went back and looked, and turns out some articles say that it was called Swamp Mama in the UK because Wikipedia used to have that when you type in Here Comes Honey Boo Boo. Apparently, they've taken it out. Brandy Madrid says, Bagel, laughing emojis. I saw a bunch of comments about how I say bagel. And I've been made fun of pretty much since high school. I say bagel, but people, it's not that. It's bagel?
What the you just said?
Bagel. It's a bagel.
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 I'm saying it right.
So,
People say it's not bagel. It's bagel.
no, nobody says bagel.
Bagel.
Nobody says that.
See? I say bagel.
No, some people said it. Well,
Bagel?
people in Windsor, so maybe people have the
Bagel, boggle.
The American accent, but they're just weird.
I don't know, people have said I say it weird my whole life, and I see these comments and everyone's writing bagel with laughing emojis. Whatever. Alright, but that is all I have. I don't really care how bagel is said. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video and subscribe to hang out with us every day. I was your host, Joss. I will see you next time. So we can only go with what the internet says. Airplane.
God damn it.
Goddamn airplane, who's traveling during these times? It is COVID time. Probably just some goods that we need in this world. His comments led Sean to suing him in a His comments led Sean to sue him. Suing him? His comments led Sean to suing him. That don't make sense. His comments led to Sean suing him for $1 million. Yeah, okay. His comments led Sean to sue. What am I saying? His comments led Sean to sue. To Sean suing him. His comments led. He might though, if Mel Gibson did. All my lists are gonna be wrong.
Yeah, that's true.
They're gonna start hiring everyone I put on the ones that Hollywood won't hire. No. My hair, what is this? What is happening?
Oh.
No! You! Get in there.
There it is.
That's better. Defining a toxic person will be different for everyone, but there seems to be a lot of toxic people in Hollywood because I have another part 2 list of the top 10 most toxic celebrities. Let me know who'd be on your list. Welcome back to Top 10 Beyond the Screen. I gotta say, happy Halloween. It is officially Halloween. We have been doing Halloween all week. As you can see, I'm a very sad Pikachu whose tail won't stand up. Let me know what you guys are being for Halloween and what you're doing to celebrate, seeing as we can't do very much right now. And to catch more of our videos, click the playlist right over here. But for now, let's get to this list. Starting off our countdown at number 10 is Chris D'Elia. He was accused with some serious allegations, and why people find him so toxic is because he's gotten away with them. Earlier this year, he was caught messaging an underage girl trying to make plans with her to fly to New York to visit him. He claims he didn't know that she was underage, but she said her Instagram profile shows her age. He walked away from the situation hands clean, and it seemed like people just completely forgot about it. Fast forward to September, he was once again under a microscope after 2 more women came forward and accused him of exposing himself to them. Both women claim he exposed himself without their consent and performed sexual acts on himself. Kris's lawyer made a statement saying that Kris denies these allegations and states that he has never engaged in any sexual conduct with any woman without her consent. Again, these new allegations came in September and people have already stopped talking about it, which is clearly very toxic. And I don't understand. I don't get it. Up next, number 9 is Offset. He's been making a lot of negative headlines recently after it was announced that Cardi B had filed for divorce since he was caught cheating on her again. So some would say that a person who continues to cheat on his wife is a toxic person, but if that's not enough reason, his most recent news headline might be. The rapper was questioned by police while on Instagram Live last week while he was driving through a Trump rally. The cops said they received reports that he was waving a gun outside of the car window. He refused to get out of his car after they asked, so eventually the cops removed him, and at that point the live stream was stopped. Later on, the Beverly Hills Police Department tweeted a statement that clarified Cardi B's cousin, Marcelo Almanzar, who was in the passenger seat of Offset's car, was the one arrested for carrying a concealed weapon and carrying a loaded firearm in public. So it wasn't actually Offset with the gun, but he was still there and letting it happen. You know, still not a good situation. Rolling into spot number 8 is Britney Spears. The only reason she would ever be considered toxic right now is simply because the situation she is in is very confusing. It's hard to understand what exactly she is going through because the media has led fans to believe a few different outcomes. A movement was started online called Free Britney after people were worried that she was being held under strict restrictions from her father, who has full control over her life and finances. She started posting these strange videos and photos on her social media, and people said that she was using codes in her videos to ask for help. But then her sister made a statement online saying that mental illness is not a joke and that she is not being held captive or harmed. All we know is the legal battle Britney is facing against her father as her lawyer tries to get her back her rights to her own life and finances. Her dad was granted conservatorship in 2008 when Britney had her breakdown, but now they want to get everything back in her control. Cruising into spot number 7 is Mama June. It's honestly hard to consider her a celebrity, but she did reach heights of fame that no one really expected for her time on TLC's show Here Comes Honey Boo Boo. She was the mom in the reality show, and her personality won over the hearts of many people. But all of her fame and success came crashing down after news broke in 2014 saying that she was dating a 53-year-old sex offender who allegedly assaulted her own daughter, who actually came forward with these claims. TLC immediately canceled the show and people turned against Mama June, who continued dating him despite the claims from her own daughter. But she eventually moved on to another man, and that is when things got even worse. She was arrested with her new man in March 2019 at an Alabama gas station after police were called for a domestic disturbance. She ended up getting charged with felony possession of a controlled substance and drug paraphernalia and domestic violence/harassment. There's a lot of toxic things in that paragraph that I just read. Making her way into number 6 is Shannen Doherty. In the 90s, you would have seen her everywhere. She was taking on lead roles in Beverly Hills 90210 and Charmed. Stories surfaced saying that she was fired from Charmed after an ongoing feud that she had with her co-star Alyssa Milano. But that was never confirmed. All we know is that she left the show because of the feud, which was heavily documented for years. Fast forward to 2019, she reprised her role for the 90210 reboot but got fired after getting into a physical altercation with her co-star Jenny Garth. So I see a pattern happening here. It's clear that she does not get along with people, or that there just has to be some kind of miscommunication and coincidence. But once things got physical, she was fired from the show immediately because she was the one who started it, apparently. Only 1 month after the incident, she was involved in another court case where she was accused of owing the bank around $36,000. So there's a few reasons why people might be skeptical about hiring her or even being friends with her. This girl throws down if she don't like you. Halfway through the list, at number 5 is Ellen DeGeneres. 2020 has not been Ellen's year, and that is because she was attacked online all summer for allegedly not being as nice as she is on TV and having a toxic work environment. These claims started to surface after former employees and bodyguards came forward stating that the workplace was very toxic. But they only came forward after one of Ellen's guests, Nikki Tutorials, shared her experience on the show and said it wasn't what she thought it would be. She revealed that Ellen didn't even say hi to her before the show and that the overall experience wasn't as positive as she expected. The claims got so serious that her show was under investigation and 2 producers were fired from her show after they were accused of sexual harassment and misconduct. But Ellen's show somehow made it through and she's filming a new season right now despite everything. In her opening season 18 monologue, she issued a public apology and said that they were working on making their work environment a better place. Rolling into number 4 is Chris Pratt. The Guardians of the Galaxy star has been facing tons of backlash after one tweet started trending where people had to choose which Chris was the worst one. Amy Berg tweeted, "One has to go," and attached pictures of Chris Hemsworth, Chris Pratt, Chris Evans, and Chris Pine. The innocent joke turned serious real quick after Ellen Page called him out for supporting a religious organization that reportedly discriminates against the LGBTQ community. The organization is called Hillsong Church, and in 2015, the senior pastor wrote in a post that the church welcomes all people but does not affirm all lifestyles, including the gay lifestyle. Their words, not mine. And to top it all off, people exposed the fact that he might be a Trump supporter. He did not attend the recent virtual fundraiser for Joe Biden, which was attended by all his other Avenger co-stars. Though he hasn't openly said that he discriminates against the LGBTQ community or that he supports Trump, people are claiming he is more toxic than people realized and that he is just quiet about it. And the 3rd spot is Shia LaBeouf. There was a time when he was one of the biggest actors in Hollywood and didn't get involved in drama or controversy. But then that all changed and he was the center of it. Things seemed to take a dark turn for the actor in 2017 when video footage showed him wildly drunk and yelling racial slurs towards police officers who were arresting him. It was a hard scandal for him to defend because it wasn't just a story that he could deny. The whole thing was caught on camera and we got to see exactly what happened. After the incident, he was sentenced to 10 weeks of court-ordered rehab where he says that he learned that his violence and defensiveness was a result of post-traumatic stress disorder coming from an incident in his childhood. After that, he did have more controversial moments in his career, but he seems to be in a better place more recently. He was blacklisted for a while in Hollywood though, with one director saying that he is too much of a liability to hire him. AKA, he is too toxic. Moving on to number 2, we have Bill Cosby. Luckily, this toxic celebrity can no longer be spreading his toxins across Hollywood because his behavior had him locked behind bars. If you followed his highly publicized trial, then you would understand why he is considered one of the most toxic celebrities in Hollywood. His career came crashing down in 2014 when allegations surfaced that he had sexually assaulted more than 50 people throughout the years 1965 to 2008. After one woman came forward, it was a domino effect and other women came forward with their stories. Bill always claimed his innocence and battled the different allegations for years. But in 2018, he was found guilty for 3 counts of aggravated assault and then he was sentenced to 3 to 10 years in state prison. Now that doesn't seem like a long time if you ask me, like not enough time for his crimes, but since he's 83 years old right now, some people believe it's basically the rest of his life in there. Coming into our number 1 place is Chris Brown. People were wondering why Chris Brown wasn't included in the big who is the worst Chris debate. Because out of all the other Chris celebrities in the category, he is definitely the worst one, or should at least be considered. It seems like the world forgot the night in 2009 when he left his then girlfriend Rihanna bruised and bleeding. Now, he later admitted that their relationship was toxic and that the physical abuse was on both ends, but most people will agree that there is never an excuse to hit a woman. Kris did an interview after the altercation and fully admitted to punching her in the face that night, admitting that he felt like a monster after it happened. He was arrested after the photos and news stories broke the internet, and Rihanna actually testified against him in court. Some people were more forgiving towards him and saw it as a toxic relationship, while others saw his behavior as personal anger issues and very toxic violent habits. Alright guys, that is our part 2 list. Let me know what you're thinking down in the comments, and also don't forget to tell me what you are being and doing for Halloween. But for now, I'm gonna end this video with some comments from top 10 Hollywood celebrities who mysteriously disappeared. Naya Life says, nice outfit, I haven't seen Sleeping Beauty in so long. Well, that is because I was not Sleeping Beauty at all. I was actually Snow White, but thank you. Darwin Ang says, just out of curiosity, what color are Lucy's eyes? You can't see her eyes. Her eyes are like the most blue eyes I've ever seen in my entire life. If you find her on social media, it's literally like you can't miss them. Geek Artist Fanboy says, you are Snow White. Question for you, who are your 7 dwarfs? Well, I actually only have Landon, who was grumpy, and Jared, who was sleepy. So I need 5 more. Taking applications. Megan McKenzie says, I'm so happy for Cameron Diaz. I bet she makes an awesome mom. I bet she makes the best mom. Imagine your mom was Cameron Diaz. That would be so freaking cool. No offense to my mom. Alright guys, that is all I got. I am getting out of here. I hope you guys all have the greatest Halloween possible during these COVID times. Leave a like, it really helps us out. I was your host Joss. I will see you next time. Toxic people are everywhere in Hollywood. Whether it's their negative attitude or their problematic behavior, people are quick to call them out for it. Today on Beyond the Screen, we have a part 3 list of most toxic celebrities. In spot number 10, we have Dave Chappelle. The comedian recently posted a video on Instagram asking his fans not to stream episodes of his Comedy Central show until he gets more money from them. He begged his fans not to boycott any network, but to boycott him and not watch it until he gets paid. If you're confused, he had abruptly quit Chappelle's show a few years ago without any notice, but because of the contract he had signed before he quit, he doesn't get any additional money for the work that he did back then. After he quit, they still released a shortened 3rd season using previously unreleased sketches of his because they have the rights to them, and he did sign a contract. He told his fans he asked Netflix to remove it, and they did, but he is now criticizing Viacom BS, which owns Comedy Central, for what he says is an unfair deal. He basically doesn't want any of his old stuff airing unless he gets paid for it now. But what do you guys think? Personally, it's like, man, you signed a contract, you quit the show. I don't know, I don't think you can come back and start asking for money now. Up next, number 9 is Farrah Abraham. She found fame after appearing on the MTV show 16 and Pregnant and then Teen Mom OG. But she was eventually fired from the show after she got involved in the industry. She ended up creating her own line of toys and other items, and MTV did not see that as appropriate for their family-friendly show. A lot of people didn't agree with her choice since she has a young daughter who greatly looks up to her. But she has been attacked online for her parenting pretty much her entire career. She has had a complete transformation with plastic surgery, which has made her look like a completely different person. But she even live streamed some of her cosmetic work. She went on Instagram Live as she got butt injections while her 11-year-old daughter Sophia was in the room with her, literally just sitting there during a live stream. Her behavior as a parent has caused tons of controversy online, to a point where people actually started a petition trying to get Sophia taken away from her. Coming into spot number 8, we have Sharon Osbourne. People were a bit thrown off about what her intentions were after she made some recent comments during an interview. The talk show hosted an interview recently with CBS and shared her thoughts on the lawsuit between Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. She compared their abusive relationship to the one she used to have with her husband Ozzy Osbourne. Sharon was very open about her opinion and admitted that her and her husband were once both physical towards each other. She even admitted that during one of the physical altercations, he told her that she was going to die and started to violently choke her, But as you can see, they continued to work on their relationship and they are still together to this day. A lot of people didn't agree with her decision to stay in an abusive relationship, and they also didn't like that she got involved in Amber and Johnny's lawsuit and basically compared the two relationships. She called their relationship volatile and said she doesn't know what they are using, and said she was in a similar relationship where she would give him what he gave her, claiming that Amber just gives back the abuse that Johnny gives her. You should probably just keep your mouth shut when it comes to like other people's relationships, maybe? I don't know. We all have an opinion on it, so. Sniping our number 7 spot is Dr. Phil. His actions are judged quite often since his show is used to help people, at least that is what their intentions are. So with a platform like this, people are always going to expect you to use your platform for good. But they were really disappointed in him when it came to COVID-19 because he was downplaying the virus and compared it to other yearly death causes. He compared the COVID-19 deaths to car accidents, pool drownings, and smoking-related illnesses. He was doing an interview with Fox News and said, "The fact of the matter is we have 45,000 people a year die from automobile accidents, 480,000 from cigarettes, 360,000 from swimming pools, and we don't shut down the country for that. And yet we are doing it for this, and the fallout is going to last years because people's lives are going to be destroyed." Now, he said this when the pandemic first started, so I don't think any of us really knew what was to come. He later admitted that he misspoke and apologized for using those bad examples. But that did not stop the backlash that he continued to receive. Rolling into spot number 6 is Kylie Jenner. She was begging her followers to stay home and social distance during the pandemic, but then she ignored her own advice. You can imagine how much that just irritated people. She started taking the heat after she posted photos of her trip to Paris when the rest of the world was unable to travel and were following COVID restrictions. She brought some of her friends with her on the trip, and people were quick to say how unfair it is that they can't travel to see their family, but she can travel to Paris with friends. She explained that she was allowed to enter the city for business purposes since the headquarters of the parent company to her makeup brand is based in Paris. But that's not excuse why her friends went with her and why she was posing around the city without a mask on. Unfortunately, her and the rest of her sisters have all been criticized for breaking COVID restrictions that the rest of us have to follow, so it's not really just Kylie, but I can't have them taking up this whole list. I had to pick one. Halfway through the list, at number 5 is Mumford Sons. The band is known for their music, but also for some pretty serious party fouls. They have made headlines on numerous occasions, one of them when they wrapped up a performance at Atlanta Centennial Olympic Park. After they were done performing, they made their way to the Claremont Lounge, which is a famous strip club in the city. Apparently, it was karaoke night, and they were getting pretty rowdy. One of the band members, Ben Lovett, made his way up on stage to sing a few songs. Naturally. But when the other bandmates started filming the event, things escalated very quickly. Most people know that you are not allowed to film inside a strip club. I feel like you've learned this rule even if you've never been to one. Like, you just know. But they kept pushing against the rules and ignored the staff members telling them to put their phones away. Security even went over the speaker phones and interrupted the song, but the band members started yelling and cursing. They ended up being removed from the venue and were banned from ever going back. They're lucky they were charged. You cannot film that. Coming into number 4 is Amanda Bynes. There was a time when everyone in Hollywood was trying to avoid her because they didn't want to end up on her Twitter feed. Back in 2013, the actress went on Twitter rants where she started attacking other celebrities with disturbing insults and inappropriate sexual invitations. She began harassing Drake on Twitter, saying that she wanted to hook up with him, to put it lightly, but then called him ugly and said that he had Down syndrome, and also went on to insult his mother. But Drake was not the only one that she attacked. She actually just called out a bunch of celebrities very randomly. Down the road, she opened up about it after explaining her struggle with mental illness and receiving treatment to get better. She actually blamed her Twitter rants as one of the reasons that she ruined her career. She said, "It makes me feel so horrible and sick to my stomach and sad. Everything I worked my whole life to achieve, I kind of ruined it all through Twitter." Her behavior was very toxic in the past, but people are finally having an understanding where it all came from and what she was really going through. In the 3rd spot is Courtney Love. It is no secret that she is not exactly adored when it comes to the rock and roll scene. She has made a name for herself, but has also gained the reputation of making people uncomfortable. She has struggled with a drug and alcohol addiction for many years, which has made her process in Hollywood a lot more difficult than it probably needed to be. Even during times that she claimed she was sober, people still did not believe her. She once claimed that she was Lindsay Lohan's personal sobriety coach, but Lindsay was quick to shut that down. Love also claimed that she found the location of the legendary missing Malaysian airplane. Maybe her intentions are good, but with her unpredictable behavior and habits, it's hard not to think that she's too toxic to be around. There's also the very famous debate on whether or not she killed her husband, Kurt Cobain, so there's always that too. If people do believe she killed someone, I wouldn't want to be around that person.
Yeah.
Like if I believe she killed someone, I'm not gonna be around them. So, just saying. Taking over the number 2 spot is Kevin Spacey. The former House of Cards star was accused of sexual misconduct by numerous people back in 2017, and it ended with him being blacklisted in Hollywood. He lost everything in a quick amount of time, but somehow walked away as a free man, which many people did not agree with. I'm pretty sure most people did not agree with that. If that didn't give people enough reason to hate him, during the recent COVID pandemic, he told listeners on a German podcast that he could empathize with those who lost their jobs to COVID, even though he had a very different reason as to why he went unemployed. He said, "I still believe that some of the emotional struggles are very much the same, so I do have empathy for what it feels like to suddenly be told that you can't go back to work or that you might lose your job, and that it's a situation that you have absolutely no control over." Obviously, this caused chaos online as people said that they are absolutely not comparable situations. Earning the number 1 spot is Belle Delphine. The cosplay YouTuber has had a very controversial career for a few different reasons. Her costumes and content can be a bit too sexual for some people's likings, and she started selling jars of her bath water, which people thought was kind of gross and weird. There were even rumors that she was selling a jar of urine for $10,000, but that was never confirmed. Thank God. Her YouTube channel was completely terminated out of nowhere recently after YouTube said she broke their sexual content policies. Apparently, 3 days before it was terminated, one of her videos was flagged for sexual content and removed, which she agreed was a little risky. But she fought to get her channel back, claiming that her content isn't any worse than the WAP music video, which is a valid point, but others fought against her and said her content is too sexual for YouTube and the young audience that she has. Some people believe even 18+ is still too young for the content she produces. But if you think her content is fine, then you probably don't see her as being toxic. However, news just in, this morning I saw it, she just said on a podcast that she is doing her first adult film and she's going to be selling the used condom from that video. That is so weird. Tell me that's not f***ed up. Alright guys, that is our part 3 list. I'm gonna end this video with some comments from celebrities who drastically changed their looks part 2. Megan Sloan says Taylor Momsen was also the girl who played Cindy Lou Who in the live action Grinch movie. Yes, she is. Fun fact. Girls Coaching Girl says Jared looks like Travolta, let's get a side by side. Everyone says that, I don't see it. I'm sorry, I can't. I've seen many pictures of John Travolta, I see Jared every day. I don't see it. I feel like he looks way more like Prince Eric than John Travolta. Simon Marshall says, I hope you never go under the knife, Joss. You got your natural look. Keep it the way you do it. I appreciate that. That is very nice. Honestly, I faint all the time. There's no way I could ever fathom going under the knife. That gives me like crippling anxiety. I don't like needles. I don't want any of that. It freaks me out. All Once 102 says, I didn't believe naked yoga existed on here, but it does, and they do not blur things out. I didn't know it existed until recently, and you are absolutely correct. They show everything, and I do have to delete my computer history. Alright guys, that is all I have. I was your host, Joss Fedar. Make sure you guys subscribe to hang out with us every day. I will see you next time.